Okay, so welcome everybody to March 2020's 2021. Oh my God, let's not jump back a year. Tarot, Chat, and Munch. Here I am, Shaw Blackburn. I learned yesterday that all these little control things you can't necessarily see on the screen, but I can. So it's less annoying knowing that you can't see it. But anyway, today for Tarot, Chat, and Munch, we are talking about the minor arcana in the tarot. So what I've pulled up here is I used to teach at the Boston Center for Adult Education, but they have since closed, and they had asked me to do a Friday night tarot reading workshop, which was just like my introduction to the tarot. So I created this little handout for that class, and I've used it ever since because it's colorful and fun. But if I were to tell you this was all you needed to memorize to start reading with the minor arcana in your tarot, you're probably pretty amazed because it's not a lot of stuff to memorize. The minor arcana is 4 suits, and these are the suits that ultimately became our playing cards, our modern day playing cards. And we have the suit of swords. So I'll move my pointy thing here. We have the suit of cups. We have the suit of rods, which is also known as clubs or wands, and the suit of pentacles, which can also be discs or coins. But swords and cups are usually swords and cups. So I'm going to start with the swords because right now we're in the season of spring. And we are in the season of swords, if you will. So the element that rules this season is air. And if you think about springtime, it is a season where the wind blows a lot. Although lately I feel like the wind just blows a lot no matter what season it is. But people are flying their kites in the spring. It's a much more, March tends to be a very windy month up here. And I feel that those winds are often what I call the winds of change because they're blowing the winter away and blowing in the warmer weather. So they're like bringing that warmer weather up from the south to us. The suit name of swords is depicted with all swords, you know, all over your cards. There's going to be lots and lots of swords. Every card has a sword on it. And the principle, which would be your main idea of these tarot cards, would be obstacles, challenges, thoughts, and the intellect. So if you remember nothing about swords except quit overanalyzing or get out of your own head, that's pretty much all you need to know. When we look at the suit of swords, and I was bad, I didn't pull up other images. So too bad, you have to look at your own suit of swords. When you look at the swords, you see all the ace through 10 is the story of the swords. And when we go back to, I think it might be next month, I'm going to talk only about the swords. And then I'll show you the whole suit in an image. But it starts with the ace, which was 1 sword. And then it works its way through to the 10 of swords, which is not a really great card to get in a reading. It's a very tough card to see because it's somebody laying face down with 10 swords sticking out of their back. So, you know, there's 1,000 words right there. But if you look at all the cards in your suit, you can see that they all are cards where somebody is blindfolded or somebody is not really looking with their eyes at the situation. You can see that in the 6 of swords, there's a person in a boat that is being ferried away by somebody else. Most of the time it's not them driving the boat, and they've got themselves shrouded or hooded. The 2 of swords and the 8 of swords are blindfolded people. So you start to see the theory that these are very analytical cards. And if you look at the 3 of swords, there's usually 3 swords going through a heart, and there might be like a drop of blood or something that tells you this is about heartache. You know, it's not, they're not mysterious, these cards. They're pretty obvious, but they leave us feeling anxious, afraid, nervous, upset. These are the cards that make us think. They make us get into our own heads. And when you see them a lot in a reading, it's meant to let you know this is somebody that is overthinking a situation or is struggling with honesty in their life, struggling with what the truth is in their life. The reason I give the element, the direction, and the season is because a lot of times when I'm doing readings for people and I see a move or I see a change, they want to know, if they want to know when that change is going to take place, and I see that it's a lot of swords coming up for them, then the change is going to take place in the spring. If they want to know where the change is going to take them, you know, if I see somebody relocating and they say, where am I going to move to? And I pull up a card and it happens to be a sword, I know that it's going to be in the easterly direction from where they currently live. And I use the numeric part of the cards, the 0, or I should say the 1 through 10, to give me that direction. Like, how deep into spring is it? Well, if it's the 5 of swords, it would be the middle of spring. If it's the 10 of swords, it would be the end of spring. If it's the ace of swords, it would be the beginning of spring. So you kind of get the idea with that. And then in terms of the element, if you follow an earth-based spiritual practice, or if you work with any other kind of holistic healing or meditation practice, then the elements become more significant to you. If you were going to use your tarot to do meditation or spell work or things like that, where you wanted to bring in a specific element, or if you've learned about magic, folklore, and can connect to the energy of those particular elements, then it's going to help you to understand the cards a little bit more. Okay, so we're going to move over now to our suit of cups, highlighted in blue because it is the direction of the element of water. So your principle for cups is love and relationships, emotions, and intuition. So this is not just romantic love. It's really important. A lot of times when you say the word love, people are thinking right away, oh, it's only romantic love. It doesn't have anything to do with, you know, it doesn't have anything to do with friendship love, companionship love, parent-child love, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It has to do with all love and all relationships. It's not only about the romance. All emotions as well. So if you look at some of the cards, when you go through and you look at them, you can see the 3 of Cups is a very happy, there's 3 women dancing, they're celebrating. It's a very joyful card. And then if you go further in and you look at the 5 of Cups, you can see it's a very sad card. It's what I call, it's the card of the victim is what I usually call it. You're the victim of your own bad decisions. Because it's, a lot of times I look at it and I think, oh, that's the Hangover. Because it's somebody, you know, kind of moping around with their head down and their hood pulled up and there's spilt cups all over the place. That would be 5 spilt cups, by the way, just in case you were wondering. So that lends itself to see the different levels of emotion within those cups cards. And all relationships, you know, if you are asking, how's the relationship between me and my boss, and you get that 5 of Cups, some of the things that you could refer back to would be, well, you know, maybe you need to be a little more emotionally detached, or maybe you need to don't take things so personally in that relationship, because that, remember that that card a lot of times is the victim of your own beliefs. So again, we look at the direction is west and the season is autumn. All right, we're going to go over here to rods now in the red. So the suit name is rods. They're also known as clubs or wands. The principle is your career, your life's work, and your social activity. The element is fire. direction is south, the season is summer. So it's not only about a job, although I didn't put job in the principle, mostly because our career tends to be the thing that we're passionate about. It's not always the thing that makes us the most money, but it's the thing we focus on. It's the thing that builds us into our life's work. Like, what is it? I think I was writing a blog post the other day, what I want to be when I grow up. At almost 53 years old, I feel like I'm still sort of resolving what I would like to be, or evolving into what I see for myself. So your career isn't necessarily the job that pays the bills. It's more about what you do because you're passionate about it. And that can be, if you're an at-home mom, that's a lot of work, but that's your career. You're focusing on raising your children, feeding your family, maintaining the home. And that can be your life's work. I mean, I know when I was a kid, my mom stayed home until, I want to say she stayed home and maybe worked part-time until I was out of elementary school. And then she started working full-time. So I became the latchkey kid. But it was nice coming home and having a parent there every day and knowing that there was that stability, and ultimately when my parents couldn't afford that lifestyle, my mom had to work full-time. And that's the case, I feel, with a lot of families, although now people are able to work from home. And I don't know that it's providing a better work-life balance, but it certainly is providing more family time. So the principle of the rods can relate to a job. It can relate to work, not just your life's work, and not only your career, but it primarily focuses on the bigger picture of what that work is. So if somebody asks a specific question about, am I going to get a promotion, and you pull a card that is a rod card or a wand card, and it looks favorable, then yeah, they probably are going to get that promotion. And in that case, it would relate just to the work. But you can then look at the artwork in the card and see a little bit more detail into what that promotion is, or how they're going to feel about that promotion. And then social activity, when you're looking at the cards, you can see the imagery in the cards is going to lend itself to telling you what kind of social activity it is. And we'll move over to the Pentacles, which is also your suit of coins. It would be diamonds in your playing card deck. The principle is family, home, money, and tangible wealth. So tangible wealth tends to be money you can put your hands on. If you have stocks and bonds and things that are, like electronic money, or money that it's there, but you can't put your hands on it in 5 minutes to go bail somebody out of jail, that's called intangible wealth. It's wealth that exists, but it's not accessible immediately. And your pentacles can relate to the intangible wealth, but primarily it's about what's tangible, what you'll be able to put your hands on. The element is earth, direction is north, the season is winter. So when you're looking at your Pentacles cards, you're looking at them, a lot of times they do depict more than one person in the card. You're looking at a lot of images of abundance, except for the Five of Pentacles, which is financial loss. That's a very troubling card because it depicts one or two people outside of a church in a snowstorm. One of them, they're either a bandaged person or a person on crutches, or two people. One of them has got the alms bowl, and the other one is bandaged up. And I often joke, although it's not really a joke, but I often joke and say they're so poor, even the church won't take them in. And that it comes from these depictions that were created way back in the 13, 14, and 1500s, where the church was not really, well, I don't know that it's still benevolent, but that's my own opinion. But it wasn't really the benevolent place where they wanted people who were sickly, they wanted people who were poor. It was a place where, you know, they had built these great cathedrals that had stained glass and they were beautiful places to go and worship, but kind of be in the opulence of the kingdom of God. And if you were broken, you could hang around outside the church and beg for alms or help or whatever, but you had to have some wealth or notoriety to go inside that bigger cathedral. So that's what that depiction is often about, is that you're not able to go inside and see or be a part of that opulence. But if you look at other cards, like the Four of Pentacles, and you can see that it's people dancing under an arbor on a platform, that's a card of abundance. It's a harvesting card. It's a card about a wedding or some other relationship. Can be a relationship between you and a business partner, you and a romantic partner, you and your friendships. So, but it's a card about abundance and harvesting, you know, reaping the abundance of your hard work. And then if you move over and look at things like the 10 of Pentacles, you'll see that it's an older person with younger family around them. And that's a card that a lot of times leads to the idea of inheritance, or I can't think of the phrase that I want right now. I'll think of it later, I'm sure. But it's something that lives beyond you, you know. So that card is more about tangible / intangible wealth. It would be if your parents were going to have a conversation with you and say, nobody lives forever, so I want to make sure that you're getting, you know, this property is yours, this money is going to go to you, this is going to go to this other person. You know what I mean? Like parceling that out. Legacy, that's the word I wanted. It's leaving a legacy. So a lot of times nowadays, where if you get elderly and you have to go into a nursing home and things like that, you don't want the nursing home to be able to take your home or your financial resources away from your children and grandchildren. So before that comes to an eventuality, a lot of people make the decision that they're going to give over what the person would have inherited upon their death before they die, so that they are able to have that and then not have to worry about that being taken away or sold off as a means to keep you in the nursing home. I remember that was a big thing when I was a kid. And after my grandparents had died, it all of a sudden became, I don't know if it was like a change in the Medicare laws or what it was, but I remember it being a big thing. My parents went to all these workshops about how to give your kids your wealth before you have to go into long-term care facilities. What they did with that information, I'll never know. But anyway, that's that 10 of Pentacles card. So now that we have this kind of backing us up, we're going to go down here and we're just going to quickly go through this. Everything you need to know about the minor arcana starts here. This is your everyday life, those 4 suits. So the cards that are called the pips, which always makes me think of Gladys Knight, would be your ace through 10 of each suit. And those are the cards that are descriptive about your situations. And then the cards that are your court cards, those are your page, knight, queen, and king. And they represent people, but they also represent facets of our own personality. And they can be people or ourselves, how we see a situation, how we see ourselves in a situation. So if you were to take all of your like kings, for example, something that I think is kind of fun to do is to take all 4 of the kings, right? Lay them out, or take all 4 of the queens, because it's, you know, Women's History Month. So take all 4 of your queens out, lay them out, look at those queens, the Queen of Pentacles, the Queen of Swords, the Queen of Rods, and the Queen of Cups, and take a look at the images on those queens and think to yourself, like, of these 4 queens, who would I trust with my money? You know, who would I trust to be the person that's going to help me financially and make sure that I'm making good decisions? Who would I trust to give me good direction in my career or business advice? Who would I trust to watch my children? Who would I want as my best friend, or who would I want as my wing woman? If you're single going out, you know, look at the images of those queens and see, like, how do you relate to those different women? And then go back and look at, go back and look at these brief little descriptions. The Queen of Swords, she would be the queen of obstacles, challenges, thoughts, and intellect, right? She keeps it all to herself. It's all in her mind. She's probably very, very smart, but is she sharing that knowledge with you? I don't know. Only if it benefits her, most likely. Whereas the Queen of Rods, she's all about career, life's work, social activity. She's all about ambition, but also that social activity, right? So she would be a good person to ally yourself with if you're looking for career advice. She would be a really good coach to get you where you want to be when you're trying to do some goal setting and make some long-term plans. And then your Queen of Cups, if you look at her, well, she's an emotional wreck, right? She's really into how she feels about things and how something makes her feel, or how she reacts to things. So she can be kind of reactionary. Is she going to be great to go out drinking with and hang out with, and talk to? Yep, she absolutely is. Is she going to give you sound advice? She's going to probably tell you what she thinks you want to hear, or she's going to tell you how she feels about something. And then your Queen of Pentacles, if you take a look at her, she's usually depicted as a very Mother Nature type woman. She's usually got a rabbit nearby. She might have a lot of greenery around her, or she might have a basket that's overflowing with produce. And she would be able to give you good advice on your finances, good advice on running your home and family. Absolutely, probably the best babysitter that you would have in here. She is very down to earth, you know, so she's not going to tell you what you want to hear. She's going to tell you probably the truth, but she'll do her best to be gentle about it. Whereas your Queen of Swords, you know, she's going to tell you the truth, how she sees it and how it's going to benefit her. So anyway, you can do that, and you can go through all of the court cards and look at like your children or your grandchildren and pull out those pages and knights and see how do they fit in to who your family members are. So the next thing that I will share with you, and let me see if I can, I'm going to stop my screen share and I'm going to go over to the whiteboard and share that. So here, swords, air. So these are your zodiac signs that go along with Aquarius and Gemini and Libra. And then your cups are your water signs. So those are your, let's see, Cancers and Scorpios. I know I'm missing one. I might have to go back to it. Sometimes I have to type all these things out. Right? And then your rods are fire. And that would be Sagittarius, which I think I'm spelling wrong. Aries. Oh. See, I have to just type these things out that I remember them. So Sagittarius, Aries, and Leo. And then Pentacles are your earth signs. So those are your Tauruses and your Virgos and your Capricorns. So if you take a look at what your family members are and then go back and look at the court cards in your minor arcana, and you can kind of see the traits of your family members built into the imagery of those cards. Okay, so what else did I want to share with you on them? I think that's it, only because next month we're going to start diving into the minor arcana suit by suit. So I'm going to record all of these and they'll be posted onto the Mighty Network. So you'll be able to go back and watch them again and see how, take some notes or whatever. And if you come early to class, like I'll probably be setting up about 5 or 10 minutes early. So like Karen came early today and we were kind of chit-chatting away. I'll pause the recording so that we can have some chit-chat time. But other than that, if you're not on the Mighty Network, you want to go to enchantedforestswc.com. And let me go back to share my screen. I don't know where I put it. Share screen. Go back to the whiteboard. So I'll just pop that in there. Text. enchantedforestswc.com. Join the Mighty Network. And then from there you can join the, I don't know if I've created it yet, I have to check today, but you can join the tarot circle that's on there, and that's where I'll keep all of these videos, so you'll be able to watch them. And there you have it. And that way you can post comments and questions in that tarot circle as well, so that you'll be able to get answers right away. Okay. And last thing that I have is I am going up to upstate New York the last weekend of April, so the 24th and 25th, to teach my tarot boot camp. So it's basically a tarot intensive. It's 2 days. They're long days. Like the first day is 6 hours long, and the second day is 4 or 5 hours long. If you're interested in taking the class virtually through them, you're able to do that, and you can just send me an email and let me know that you're interested, and I will pass your information along. Cost of the class is $150. It does include your tarot deck, although Ariette, you already have your tarot deck. If you want to take the class, you've got the deck that I teach with. All right, so that's it. And this is Shah signing off. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.